I'm only 5'2". He's very tall. So, I have people in front of me. I already can't see the stage. And this girl looks at me and she points and she turns around and goes, "Somebody's standing there." And like, I looked at her for a minute. I didn't know that this is etiquette for concerts when it's standing room only. Like, people who are not there are allowed to save someone's spot where they're standing. Like, I thought that this was just okay for chairs, like somebody sitting in that chair. I've never had this happen to me before.
Like a standing spot was claimed
by an invisible person. So this kind of like made me a little agitated, but I was being funny. I wasn't being nasty at all. And I just looked at her and I'm like, well, I really don't see somebody standing there. And I started laughing. I'm like, oh, is this the new thing? Like, somebody's standing there? I'm like, nobody's standing there. Like, ooh, I'm going to stand there, putting my foot there, whatever. And then she got a little nasty with me. And I didn't realize how loud I was talking too. And there was no music playing at the time. And I'm just like, do you see somebody standing? Are you standing? And I just kept like kind of saying it like to sass her.
You were smiling though.
I was smiling. And then I realized that she was in a wheelchair.
All this talk about standing.
Which, I mean, I know I would never, ever, ever, ever disrespect anybody like that at all. And
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, and I had no idea. And so then she looks at me and she goes, well, if somebody was standing there and they walked away, I'd want them to have my back too. And I'm like, oh, so now we fight over invisible spots at concerts. This is weird. So like that happened. And of course, like the girl that was standing there comes walking over and she looks like Pam Anderson out of that movie Bob Wire, like 6 foot, most gorgeous female I've ever seen in my life, like perfect hair, like everything. And here I am like 5'2", like whatever. Like, I guess you deserve that spot because you're better looking than me. I'm just kidding. But I mean, like, I was just like, oh, okay. So she comes over and, throughout the concert, I did get a few nasty remarks because, like, I guess in my stupidity was talking really loud and not realizing they could hear me telling the story over again to others. And so then, like, being the weirdo that I am, it gets worse. Now this other girl, like group of girls, comes in, they're like standing on like the left side of me. And then there's this other group on the right side who looks like the mom's like carrying her keys, like in her knuckles. Like if I turned around and said one thing, she'd probably take me out. And I'm like, it's probably not the group of people that I want to test this on. Yeah. So I turn around to the other group of girls and I look at her and I'm like, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know somebody's standing there.
She took it so seriously.
And the look on her face was like, she turned like 50 shades of white and stared at me and she's like, oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And I'm like, girl, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Like, I just thought, I'm like, someone did it to me. I thought it was ridiculous. At this point, I'm like, I should just go home and never leave my house again. Like, everything that came out of my mouth just got worse and worse as the night went on. I couldn't believe it was like an outer body experience. Like, seriously.